Hey guys, so today I'm going to be adding fog lights to a 2010 Saturn Vue. It's also the same thing as a 2012 and up Chevy Captiva Sport. It's basically the same car. When they stopped making Saturns, they started making the Chevy Captiva Sport. But it's basically the same car. You could do this with any car though. Any car you want to add fog lights to, or any kind of light, something on the front like a bull bar with a light bar like my Ford over there, or lights on the top of a Jeep or in the bed of a truck. It's going to be the same thing. This one, I'm actually adding fog lights to this hybrid model that didn't have fog lights before. There's a spot for fog lights, but they just had those plastic inserts, and on the inside there's no button for the lights because it wasn't an option in this car. So I think maybe that one, no, that just turns them on. So there was no button. There probably would be a button like right here, which I could probably buy and put in there if I wanted to, but I have a bunch of extra wiring harnesses, so I'm just going to show you the way to do it. I could always add that button later and just wire it in the way I'm doing it too. So basically what you're going to need is you're going to need a relay, 12 volt relay, something that takes 12 volts, something about 40 amps. This one's 40, I think. Yeah. And a relay just opens and closes contact. So when you press the button inside, it closes the contact and sends the signal. It also helps with the power, being constant power. So if the lights are like heavier, you don't want to just hook it up to the battery. You want a relay, because when you turn it off, it closes it opens the connection, and then there's no power going to the lights. It's not going to drain the battery at all. So a relay, and then there's going to be a button, and then there's going to be a hookup. This one is for 2 lights. So like I said, I have a bunch, but it basically splits off like this. There's one here, one there. I'm going to cut these ends because these are for a different kind of light that I didn't use when I did it. But basically there's just a red and black wire right here. It's negative and positive. So all lights are going to have negative and positive. And then one's going to go to the left side, one's going to go to the right side. There's going to be a relay in here. We're going to have to add a circuit to the fuse box using an add a circuit thing. I'll show you how to do that, so that way you can hopefully get it onto one where it only has power when the car's on, and it kills it completely when the car is off. So that way you really don't have to worry about anything. You can only turn the fog lights on when the car is on. And then inside, you're going to have a button right now. Like I said, I could add a button here, which I probably will do eventually, but right now I'm just going to use the button that came with it, which is this. So I'm going to show you the steps on how to do it. And it'll look like you've had fog lights in the car the whole time. The only difference is there'll just be a button right here to turn them on whenever you want with a relay. And like I said, if you want to go all out and replace this switch and get the one that has the button for the fog lights right there, you can. I'm sure it's probably cheap, but I don't want to do all that right now. I can do it later, like I said. These are for a Chevy Captiva Sport or Saturn Vue. They're going to be just like regular fog lights with a connection. Right now, it's hard. There's a connection for the bulb right there. But in your car, you're not going to have the other end of the harness, so you're going to have to add that. I'm going to replace these with some lights, obviously, so it matches the LED headlights I put in. But on this end, we're going to shoot the wire, and we're going to have like a little connection put on the end of it, which will plug right into the H8 harness run. This is all cheap stuff. This is all easy stuff to do. I'll show you how to do it. You'll be able to do it. I'm an electrician, so I'm going to do stuff, but this is all just 12 volt stuff, so this is no big deal anyways. Get this on Amazon for like $6. It's basically a fog light harness for an H8. Doesn't matter what car model it's for, as long as the number's the same, whatever it's all about the adapter, what's going to plug into the light, you know what I mean? So whether you replace it with LED lights or you stick with the halogens, they're still going to have the same connection. It's going to be an H8 for this one. On the other end, there's just black and red. So we're going to take the black and red. We're going to cut the wires here. Black to red. Then we'll have a harness. We'll have that harness end on that, which will be able to stick directly into your fog lights. First thing you want to do is figure out your route for your wires. It's always easier to go through a firewall. It's cleaner, it's better than trying to route it in here through, like, you know, down or under and then up. So what I did was, most cars will have like a pop out on a firewall. So this one had that right there. Behind it, there's a little rubber boot which wires are going through. See, these wires are going through it right now, which brings power up to the dash. I think this actually goes to the computer here. But so basically what I did was take this out. Behind that, there's another rubber boot that seals from the engine. It's basically just like a gasket, but you can just stick like a tool like this, a pry tool in, lift it up the edge a little bit. Most of the time you can just stick the wire through and then put the rubber boot back down on, and it pretty much seals up around the wire that you have going through. So you really don't have to worry about anything. When I ran it through behind this little rubber piece and it's coming out here, I'm gonna zip tie it up to some wires right there, have it all tucked up like really nice like this, and then have it be like basically right here underneath the dash. So whenever I want to turn the fog lights on, you can just go boop, 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 turn them on. Now this will also be easy if I want to just cut these wires right here and run them up to a switch right here with a button there. I can eventually do that, but since everything will be right here, that'll be easy. I can just do that. I popped it through that little gasket that I told you about down there. The other end is right here. And then I connected it to the rest of the wiring. I'm gonna tuck that back down in there so you don't even see it. And I'm gonna zip tie this. And the other end is the relay. So somewhere near this fuse box, I'm gonna be mounting this relay. Hopefully I can get it underneath the fuse box cover so you don't see anything. And then this is gonna red's gonna get wired into our new fuse line. Black is just gonna go to any ground on the car. If you can get it directly to the battery black, that's fine too, but you could just ground it to anything, any bolt on the car, take it out, put this underneath, and have it connected to the ground on the car. And then you'll have, then that switch should be live. That means anytime you press that button and the car is on, those will be live, which will turn on the fog lights. Trying to find a circuit you can add a circuit to. You don't have to do this technically, but on this particular switch, there's a light on it. So if it doesn't shut off when the car goes off, there'll always be a little LED light on it. And if this car doesn't get driven that much, I mean, you're using a battery, a little bit of the battery, not much, but I always put it on a circuit if you can. It's easy enough to add a circuit. So basically, if you're gonna use the one inside, if you're doing anything inside, you're usually under the dash somewhere. Engine bay's one here, sometimes they're in the trunk. You're gonna wanna find a circuit that doesn't have anything major on it, or that you know isn't used on this car, like something like sunroof. So this car doesn't have a sunroof, so you know that circuit isn't even being used. It might even be blank. If there is a fuse in it, you know that it's not being used. This is a hybrid, so you want to stay away from all the hybrid stuff. You could probably throw it on like the rear air blower or something like that, because I mean the LED lights are not going to use that much power, so you don't really have to worry about it. But if you could put it on like something that says fog lights, that would be good, because then you know that if the fog lights weren't there, it's going to be on the actual like. But Took me a while to find something that would work when the car was on, but be off when the car was off, and be able to fit one of these ADA circuits in here. This car is really weird with, there has to be like a secondary fuse inside that, with a relay that switches on, that then sends the power to these fuses, so it won't be on unless the thing is on. So, and anything that did have power, getting this in here was almost impossible with the different size fuses and stuff. I almost got to the point where I was just going to wire it into the battery wire right here and just go straight battery to relay and just have that light on all the time inside the car. But eventually I found this is the front right low beam, which only goes on when the front right low beam is on, which is fine though, because I will only want the fog lights on when the headlights are on, and then it goes off when the headlights are off. It also works on the daytime running lights, but so that's good if I want to, you know, turn the fog lights on, but most of the time they'll only be on when it's nighttime and the low beams are on anyways. I upgraded the 10 amp fuse to a 15 amp fuse for that headlight, and then I added another 15 amp fuse on the Adeline circuit. So now you can see it's off, doesn't light up when the headlights are off, and then you should be able to see it go on. So it only goes on when the headlights are on, so that's fine. It'll be a separate 15 amp circuit now, and I'll be able to hook this around here, run the wire wherever I want. But there's no other spot for me to do it, and it was either this, and this is even a tight fit with this relay right here, but I was able to get it in where it doesn't affect the relay. I checked this is the parking and brake light relay, so once this was all hooked up, I checked it and stepped on the brake, and the brake's still working, so it's a really tight fit, but I mean, it's not going anywhere now. Once it's in, so anyways, that's it. So now this is in, so now I'm going to strip this wire, and I'm going to hook it into this circuit. I'm going to hook this ground wire to a bolt on the frame of the car somewhere. I'm going to mount this relay somewhere underneath this fuse box, and then I'm going to run the rest of the wires down in to where the fog lights are going to be, and then I'll pick it up from there. The wire that goes down into the underneath the dash right here, that's going to mount for the switch. I have it running up under here. This is the negative attached to the frame. It goes down in. I have it wired into its own fuse, and then it has a fuse on it as well. I got the relay mounted right here. Screwed it to the frame. All the wires are run. There's the line coming out right there. Comes down. All the wires run down here, and then they pop out down here now. Okay, so like I was saying, I got it all run down here. That's the end for the fog light. That's gonna go right here. That's the end. The fog light is gonna go right here, which are right here. And I have it all wired in. I put everything back together. I have it all wired in nice. So the relay's mounted right here. Here's where it's to the frame of the car. It's a negative. You should spray some of this rust stopper and inhibitor on your screw when you're screwing it back into the frame. It'll do two things. It'll keep it from rusting and corroding. It'll also make like a good connection on your ground to the frame. Angle this one down. See how it's like up right now? It's like angled up. You want to angle it down so it's not shining up in people's faces. There you go. That fills in perfectly. I'm going to have about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of wire sticking out. I'm going to get that all the way in there so you don't see any wire, it's all rubber, and then you can just clamp down one. Same thing. Once that's in there, it's not going to come out. See? And then if this gets tucked up inside there somewhere, behind where this is going to go, no water. There's a cover behind all this, so no water or dust or anything is going to get in there anyways. Plus, if anything happens, you can just undo it and put a new one on, you know? Make sure you shove the wire all the way in there. One thing you want to do is make sure when you're putting these in, they work really good and they're really secure. You just have to make sure you put the wire all the way in. So this actually clamps down on the sheathing part, not the wire. The wire gets clamped on too, but that's not what holds it in. What holds it in is the sheathing. You want to stick it in and stick it even farther like that, and then clamp it down. So you want to stick it in and stick it even further, and then clamp it down. Add a little extension onto this because it wasn't long enough to get over to the other one, but now it's wired up. And then the way these are, you can't put the plug into the light with it out because then you can't screw it back on, so you got to put these up with the bulb in, but no big deal. Okay guys, it's officially done. that's it. You can see that now I have fog lights where there used to be just those plastic things. So it's just starting to get dark here. It's just in time I can turn them on so you can see what they look like. This is what I ended up doing with the switch inside. I ended up just right there underneath, right next to where the little OBD2 port is. There was a little piece of plastic right here, so I ended up just mounting it right here. Switch the button, see? It's all hidden out of the way, you can't even see it. Just right here. And all the wires are all tucked up in here, zip tied. Goes in behind here, through the firewall, up here. And then now, since it's dark, I can turn them on, show you how it works. So there's the headlights, and you should see the fog lights when I turn them on. See? Now I left the screws on the plastic things off because I got different bulbs coming, because I'm going to swap them out for this is them installed with the new bulbs now, the LEDs. They came today. You can see they match the low beams now. It's a big difference between not having fog lights and fog lights. And the white light makes them look way newer. And you want to know something that ended up happening, which was a total accident that I didn't even realize, was that the way I wired it in, this switch stays on when the headlights go off, and then the next time you turn them on, they're still on. So they just go on and off with the automatic headlights now, and they only go off if you turn them off. So that's that, and this will work for any car, any Jeep, any bull bar, anywhere you want to put lights. Just follow the same instructions. Pretty